Before we begin this incredible story, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you never miss amazing stories like this one. Now, let's dive into what happened on that unforgettable day at Buckingham Palace. The morning sun cast golden rays across the courtyard of Buckingham Palace. Queen Camilla stepped out of the grand entrance, wearing an elegant navy blue coat and her signature pearl necklace. She was scheduled to inspect the royal guard, something she had done countless times before. The ceremony was meant to be routine, just another formal occasion in the life of British royalty. But what was about to happen would leave everyone speechless. The guards stood in perfect formation, their red uniforms crisp and their tall bearskin hats making them look even more imposing. These men were trained to be emotionless, to stand still for hours without flinching and to follow protocol without question. Queen Camilla walked slowly along the line, her heels clicking against the stone pavement. Everything seemed normal at first. Each guard she passed maintained their rigid posture, eyes fixed straight ahead. But when she reached the fifth guard in the line, something changed. This particular guard was younger than the others, maybe in his mid-20s, with kind eyes that seemed to hold a deep sadness. As Queen Camilla approached him, she expected the usual formal salute, the same mechanical gesture she had received hundreds of times. Instead, the young guard did something completely unexpected. His hands began to tremble. His eyes, which were supposed to remain fixed forward, started to well up with tears. Queen Camilla stopped in her tracks. The other officials nearby froze, unsure of what to do. Breaking protocol during a royal inspection was unheard of. The silence in the courtyard became thick and heavy. Everyone watched as a single tear rolled down the guard's cheek, cutting a path through his stoic expression. His lips quivered as he struggled to maintain his composure. This was not the behavior of a trained royal guard. Something was clearly wrong. Instead of being offended or calling for his removal, Queen Camilla did something that surprised everyone present. She took a step closer to the young guard. Her expression softened from regal formality to genuine human concern. She looked at him not as a queen looking at a subject, but as one person looking at another who was clearly in pain. The other guards remained frozen in their positions, but their eyes slightly shifted, curious about what their queen would do next. Queen Camilla leaned in slightly and spoke. In a soft voice that only the young guard could hear, she asked him if he was all right. Her tone was gentle, filled with the kind of warmth that comes from genuine caring. The young guard's lips trembled even more. He tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. Years of military training had taught him to suppress his emotions, to be strong no matter what. But in this moment, standing before the queen, all those walls came crashing down. The guard finally managed to whisper something back to her. His voice was barely audible, choked with emotion. Queen Camilla listened carefully, her face showing deep concern. The other officials standing nearby shifted uncomfortably, not knowing whether they should intervene. This was highly irregular. Royal inspections followed strict rules and timelines, but Queen Camilla paid no attention to the schedule or the watching eyes. She focused entirely on the young man in front of her. What the guard told her made Queen Camilla's eyes glisten with tears of her own. He explained that just 3 days earlier, he had received devastating news. His mother had passed away suddenly from a heart attack. She was only 52 years old and had been perfectly healthy, or so everyone thought. The guard had been extremely close to his mother. She had raised him alone after his father left when he was just a baby. She worked 2 jobs to put him through school and had been so proud when he joined the Royal Guard. The funeral was scheduled for the next day, but the guard had been told he could not attend. His commanding officer had denied his leave request because the inspection with Queen Camilla was considered too important. Missing it would be seen as a serious breach of duty. So there he stood, in his perfect uniform, trying to maintain composure, while his heart was breaking into a million pieces. He was supposed to bury his mother, the person he loved most in the world. And instead he was standing at attention in a courtyard. Queen Camilla listened to every word. When he finished speaking, she placed her hand gently on his arm. Another breach of protocol that made the nearby officials gasp quietly. Royal family members typically did not touch the guards during formal ceremonies. But Queen Camilla, did not care about protocol in that moment. She saw a young man in agony. Her human compassion overruled every royal rule in the book. Queen Camilla turned to face the commanding officer who was standing several feet away. Her expression had changed from soft compassion to firm determination. She walked over to him with purpose, her heels clicking sharply against the ground. The officer straightened up even more, if that was possible, sensing that something significant was about to happen. Queen Camilla spoke to him in a voice that was quiet but carried absolute authority. She wanted to know why this young guard had been denied leave to attend his mother's funeral. The commanding officer stammered slightly as he explained. He talked about duty, about the importance of the royal inspection, about maintaining standards and discipline. He listed all the military reasons why the guard needed to be present. Queen Camilla listened patiently, her face unreadable. When the officer finished his explanation, she nodded slowly. Then she said something that no one expected. She told him that the inspection was canceled, effective immediately. The officer's face went pale. Cancel a royal inspection. That had never been done before. But Queen Camilla was not finished. She explained that no ceremony, no matter how important or traditional, was more valuable than a son being able to say goodbye to his mother. She spoke about the importance of family, about grief, and about basic human decency. Her words were powerful and clear. She made it known that she would personally ensure the young guard received immediate leave to attend the funeral. Not only that, but she wanted him to have a full week off afterward, to grieve properly with his family. The other guards in the line remained at attention. But those close enough to hear were deeply moved. Some of them had their own stories of loss and sacrifice. They had missed birthdays, weddings, and family emergencies because duty always came first. Seeing their queen prioritize a guard's personal tragedy over royal protocol gave them a new respect for her. It showed them that she understood what they went through, that she saw them as real people with real lives beyond their uniforms. Queen Camilla walked back to the young guard, who now had tears streaming freely down his face. She told him to go home immediately. She told him to be with his family, to honor his mother's memory, and to take all the time he needed. The guard tried to thank her, his voice breaking with emotion. But she simply smiled warmly and told him that any mother would want her son to remember her properly. She added that his mother must have been an extraordinary woman to have raised such a dedicated and honorable young man. The young guard removed his bearskin hat, which was another break in protocol, but no one said a word. He stood there holding it in his hands, looking at Queen Camilla with an expression of profound gratitude. He tried to salute her properly, but his hands were shaking too much. Queen Camilla gently told him that no salute was necessary. She reached into her handbag and pulled out a handkerchief which she handed to him. It was embroidered with the royal crest, something incredibly personal and valuable. But she gave it to him without hesitation. As the guard wiped his tears, Queen Camilla turned to address everyone present in the courtyard. She spoke about the importance of compassion, even in the most formal settings. She reminded everyone that behind every uniform was a person with feelings, family, and personal struggles. She said that true strength was not about standing rigid and emotionless, but about having the courage to be human even when it was difficult. A little straighter, not from military discipline this time, but from pride. They were proud to serve under someone who truly understood them. The officials who had been worried about protocol violations now felt ashamed of their concerns. They realized they had lost sight of what really mattered. Queen Camilla had just taught them all an important lesson about leadership, about humanity, and about the values that should guide those in positions of power. News of what happened spread quickly through the palace and then beyond. Staff members who heard the story were touched by Queen Camilla's kindness. When the media eventually caught wind of it, the story went viral. People from all over the world commented on how Queen Camilla had shown true royalty that day, not through ceremony and formality, but through simple human decency. The young guard's story resonated with millions who had experienced similar conflicts between duty and personal tragedy. The commanding officer, who had initially denied the leave request, approached Queen Camilla later that day. He apologized for his rigid adherence to rules without considering the human element. Queen Camilla accepted his apology graciously. She explained that she understood the pressures of maintaining military discipline, but she hoped this incident would remind everyone that rules should serve people, not the other way around. The officer nodded, genuinely moved by her wisdom and grace. The next day, the young guard attended his mother's funeral, surrounded by family and friends. The church was filled with people whose lives his mother had touched during her 52 years. They shared stories of her kindness, her humor, and her incredible strength as a single mother. The guard was able to give a eulogy, something he would have missed if not for Queen Camilla's intervention. He spoke about his mother's sacrifices, her unconditional love, and how proud she had been of his service in the royal guard. During the service, something unexpected happened. A large wreath of white lilies arrived at the church with a card attached. The guard opened it with shaking hands. The card was written in elegant handwriting and signed by Queen Camilla herself. She expressed her condolences and wrote that his mother's legacy lived on through him. She added that anyone who could raise such an honorable son must have been truly special. The guard broke down in tears again. But this time, they were tears of gratitude mixed with grief. The story of Queen Camilla's compassion continued to spread. Other members of the royal guard came forward with their own experiences of struggling to balance duty with personal life. Some shared stories of missing the births of their children, of not being there when family members fell ill, of sacrificing important moments because military protocol demanded it. Queen Camilla's actions had opened up an important conversation about how the military could better support their personnel during difficult times. Within weeks, new policies were implemented within the royal guard. Compassionate leave procedures were revised to be more flexible and humane. Commanding officers received training on how to balance military discipline with empathy. The changes were not drastic or revolutionary, but they made a real difference in the lives of the guards who served. They knew that if they faced a personal crisis, they would be treated as human beings first and soldiers second. The young guard returned to duty after his week of leave. He was forever changed by both the loss of his mother and by Queen Camilla's unexpected kindness. When he took his place in formation again, he stood even prouder than before. He carried with him the memory of his mother and the gratitude for a queen who saw his pain and chose compassion over protocol. His fellow guards welcomed him back with quiet nods and supportive glances, silent brotherhood that understood loss and sacrifice. Document 6 months passed and life at Buckingham Palace returned to its normal rhythm. But the impact of that day continued to ripple outward. Queen Camilla received hundreds of letters from people thanking her for showing that kindness and authority could coexist. Military families wrote to express their appreciation for the changes in leave policies. Mental health advocates praised her for addressing the emotional needs of service members. The simple act of stopping to care about one crying guard had sparked a much larger conversation about compassion in formal institutions. The young guard never forgot what Queen Camilla had done for him. On the anniversary of his mother's death, he requested a private audience with the Queen. It was granted, and when they met, he thanked her properly for giving him the chance to say goodbye to his mother. He told her that her kindness had helped him through the darkest period of his life. Queen Camilla listened with the same warmth and attention she had shown that day in the courtyard. She told him that she had simply done what any decent person would do. But the guard disagreed. He explained that many people in positions of power would have prioritized the ceremony, the tradition, and the appearance of authority. She had chosen differently. She had seen him as a person, not just a uniformed figure. That choice, he said, had restored his faith in the goodness of people. It had shown him that even in a world of strict rules and ancient protocols, human compassion could still find a way to shine through. Queen Camilla smiled at his words. She shared with him that she too had experienced loss and understood the pain of grief. She told him that wearing a crown or a uniform did not make anyone immune to human suffering. We are all connected by our shared experiences of love and loss, she said. The only real difference between people is how we choose to treat each other when someone is hurting. She hoped that her small act of kindness had made even a tiny difference in his pain. Before the young guard left, Queen Camilla gave him a photograph. It was from the day of the inspection, taken by a palace photographer. In the image, Queen Camilla was standing close to the guard, her hand on his arm, looking at him with genuine concern. It captured a moment of pure human connection in the midst of royal formality. The guard treasured this photograph, keeping it on his dresser, next to a picture of his mother. It reminded him that compassion exists everywhere, even in the most unexpected places. Years later, the story of Queen Camilla and the Crying Guard became part of palace legend. New recruits to the Royal Guard heard about it during their training. It served as a reminder that their service was valued not just for their discipline and precision, but for their humanity as well. Queen Camilla herself never spoke publicly about the incident, considering it simply a private moment of doing the right thing, but those who witnessed it never forgot. They had seen true royalty that day, not in ceremony or crown, but in the simple act of one human being caring for another in their moment of deepest need. And that, more than any formal salute or grand tradition, was what real majesty looked like.